Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is always to take information, whether it's research, articles, or in today's case, some really personal reflections, and give you that analytical shortcut to what really matters. Today, we're focusing on something that's so pervasive, so fundamental that we often just forget to analyze it: the weather. We check the forecast, we dress for it, but how often do we, really break down how our local climate dictates our energy, our mood, our entire social calendar?
Precisely. And for this deep dive, we're using the specific observations of Anna, a resident in a coastal town, and her reflection. It frames the weather not as some background detail, but as the central, fascinating topic that orchestrates her life.
Right.
So our goal is to move past the superficial, past just it's warm or it's raining, and to pull out those insights that prove how a localized microclimate can provide a clear structural framework for someone's entire emotional and lifestyle rhythm.
Okay, let's unpack this. So Anna's location, being near the sea, that immediately defines her world. She describes her climate as generally mild and pleasant, but her account makes it so clear that the ocean's influence creates these really distinct, contrasting rhythms all year.
And what's fascinating right away is how quickly even a quote-unquote mild climate forces you to adapt. This isn't just about what jacket to wear.
No.
It's about a complete seasonal overhaul of your behavior.
Let's start with summer then. It's the season of external focus. She paints this picture of it being hot and sunny, clear blue skies, those long, endless days.
And she connects it to a powerful, almost childlike sense of physical freedom.
Yeah.
And that feeling of freedom, of shedding clothes and layers, that's so important psychologically. It means there's less of a barrier between her and the environment. She even mentions the fresh fruit watermelon and that universal drive toward the beach, water sports. It's a kind of easy, low-effort lifestyle.
But I'd argue the source doesn't let us romanticize it completely. She immediately brings up the challenge. The heat can be, she says, unbearable.
Right.
It forces this dependence on fans, on AC units, and she talks about the constant conscious need to be drinking huge amounts of water.
Exactly. The psychological freedom of summer is offset by the physical necessity of constant management. And in a coastal climate, that unbearable heat often comes with this oppressive humidity.
Yeah.
So it's not just the temperature that drains you, it's that thick, still air that just stops you from cooling down naturally.
Okay, so now contrast that immediate pressure with winter. Compared to a lot of places, her coastal winter is mild. It rarely snows.
But the whole character of the season is dominated by gray skies, strong wind, and these persistent rainy days.
And the transition here is sharp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Summer is all external, but winter is explicitly introverted.
It is. And if her winter is truly mild, why the immediate shift to staying indoors to read books, watch movies, drink hot tea? I think the key isn't the temperature.
It's the light.
It's the lack of light and the dampness.
And that makes perfect sense. I mean, low light, especially those persistent gray skies, is such a known mood dampener. It signals to your brain that it's time to conserve energy. So even if the thermometer says 50 degrees, the whole atmosphere just dictates a slowdown. It's like an enforced period of rest.
And the practical reality is that it's a short season. Anna only needs a warm jacket and an umbrella. The fact she doesn't need heavy-duty winter gear, well, that just reinforces that this forced introversion is.
It's psychological, not physical.
But the real sweet spot, the seasons that truly define the emotional balance of this coastal life, are those transitional ones. Anna picks spring as her clear favorite.
And you can see why.
Oh yeah, why spring? She calls the temperature perfect, that golden zone, not too hot and not too cold. It's a sensory feast, Flowers blooming everywhere, fresh air, birds singing, trees turning green. She says it's about being alive and colorful. And this is where we see that biological connection just validated. Spring represents the release from that introversion we just talked about. It's the optimal combination of comfortable temperature and rapidly increasing sunlight, which boosts serotonin.
Right, and vitamin D.
Exactly. It's not just a preference, it's a biological imperative. And that explains why she notes that people seem happier and why all the outdoor festivals start to pop up.
And then you have the final season, autumn. It provides a completely different kind of pleasure. It's cool, it's calm, and visually stunning. The leaves changing color, red, orange, yellow. She describes it as ideal for photography and giving this strong feeling of peace and reflection.
So we move from the exuberant energy of spring back toward introspection in autumn, but without the gloom of the winter rain. It's a quiet contemplation.
Yeah.
Anna's description suggests that these two transitional seasons offer the best of both worlds, the vibrancy of nature without the exhausting extremes of summer heat or that mandatory slowdown of winter.
Which brings us directly to the personal mechanics of it all. Like, how do these daily shifts actually translate into action? Here's where it gets really interesting. Anna draws this stark, direct line between sunshine and her energy levels. Sunny days mean feeling energetic, motivated, happy, and optimistic. The analysis is simple. If the sun is out, she's going for walks.
That's riding her bike.
Reading friends. It's an immediate outward projection of energy.
And that immediate strong correlation is so powerful, it confirms that for her, weather isn't something she just tolerates. It's a necessary trigger for activity. So if the sun is the trigger for optimism, what happens when it's gone?
Well, rainy days are framed not as misery, but as fostering relaxation. It's a deliberate internal choice.
Yeah.
Staying indoors, reading, cooking, or chatting with friends online. It's almost like a scheduled pause, a guaranteed day off from external performance.
That framing is crucial. She doesn't fight the rain. She uses it as permission to decelerate. And that's an important insight for you, you know? If your own productivity is weather dependent, how can you plan those indoor days for necessary things that require quiet focus?
And she even finds pleasure in the in-between, the less stable conditions. Windy days, for instance, they aren't necessarily annoying to her. They bring a feeling of movement and change.
That's interesting.
Yeah, she watches the trees sway, feels the fresh air. It's dynamic, almost like an active meditation.
But the truly challenging days, she admits, are the cloudy ones. Those days bring a touch of sadness, and that low-grade melancholy is universal, isn't it? That sense of a flat, uninspired existence.
Totally. Yet, her coping mechanism is immediate. She just reminds herself the sun will be back soon.
And this observation reveals a key psychological defense. The weather dictates her mental well-being, but the mildness of her coastal climate allows her to maintain that optimism. She knows the extreme won't last long, and that's the subtle difference. The weather sets the pace of life, but because the climate is temperate, she kind of retains control over her mindset.
That mental resilience is really tested when she steps outside of her familiar, mild coastal bubble. To truly appreciate what she has, Anna sought out the extremes, and her travel experiences serve as these critical contrast points. She tells us about the first time she traveled to the mountains and experienced deep snow. The description is just so immediate. It was magical.
Yeah.
The whole landscape covered in white. The air was freezing.
And this is where the requirements become instantly visible. The simple act of adapting requires massive physical intervention. Thick coats, gloves, hats.
Right, a level of bundling she never needs at home.
Exactly. And this isn't just physical protection. It's a mental barrier between the self and the environment. It's a huge shift from her easy coastal freedom.
And the snow, it brought a challenge. She noted how difficult it was to walk. But the prevailing emotional state was calm and peaceful.
Wow.
Despite the cold and the physical labor, the snow induced this feeling of tranquility and awe. Now let's pivot completely to the thermal opposite. Visiting a major city during the peak of summer, she describes intense heat combined with crowded streets.
This city experience during extreme heat, it required a completely different kind of effort, a form of, let's call it thermal combat. It wasn't about adding layers, it was about the constant mental and physical labor of heat management.
Exactly. She had to focus on drinking huge amounts of water, wearing sunglasses to protect her eyes.
Yeah.
And instead of feeling that calm tranquility of the snowy mountains, she felt instantly hot and tired.
Just drained.
The sheer physical drain of managing extreme heat in a built environment, totally devoid of those natural coastal breezes, it just defined the entire trip for her.
What's fascinating here is the core lesson these trips provided. It proves that the climate isn't just an external condition. It is the ultimate psychological lens. The same person experienced awe and peaceful calm in the snow.
Versus fatigue and discomfort in the urban heat.
Yes, the weather fundamentally changed the very texture and the memory of those places.
So we've covered the intense personal emotional connection. But Anna's reflection insists that weather is far more than just personal preference. It's a universal necessity.
Right.
And this is where we pivot to the larger societal implications. It's not just about her grabbing an umbrella. It's about whether trains run or crops survive.
Indeed. Anna's personal preparedness for rain or sun, it scales up immediately to societal preparedness. We need to move beyond just listing the obvious. I mean, how does weather affect infrastructure? It dictates agriculture yields, which impacts food security.
Of course.
It impacts transportation grids, from icy roads to grounded planes, slowing entire economies. And critically, it affects public health. I mean, think about the strain on emergency services during a massive heat wave.
And Anna is very aware of the acute danger of extreme weather events, storms, floods, those persistent heat waves, which are, increasingly impacting coastal regions everywhere. This is why she emphasizes that checking the forecast is non-negotiable. It's the difference between safety and risk. It dictates those simple, practical preparations. Grab an umbrella. Wear sunscreen. Awareness is the first, simplest line of defense.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we see that weather holds this vital, non-controversial social function. Anna noted that it's a universal topic because absolutely everyone experiences it, and that makes it the perfect immediate way to start a conversation.
She gives that simple example. The weather is amazing, isn't it? Yes, it's sunny and warm, perfect for a walk. It sounds so trivial.
It does.
But that exchange is a recognition of a shared reality. It's an instant mutual connection point that transcends almost all other social barriers. It's safe, it's relevant, and immediately understandable.
It acts as the ultimate common ground, right? It lets two strangers validate their shared experience of the physical world before they have to delve into anything more complex.
So to summarize Anna's insightful deep dive into her coastal climate, weather is an essential, changing, and perpetually interesting part of life. And while her biology dictates a preference for the sunny days that fuel her optimism, she's learned to appreciate every season for the unique demands it brings, whether it's the quiet introspection of a mild winter or the peaceful reflection of autumn.
And fundamentally, Anna found that talking about the weather reminds her how connected we are to nature. This raises an important question. Given that weather profoundly affects our emotions, dictates our plans, and defines our need for safety every single day, is this shared, ever-present necessity of checking the forecast and preparing for the elements, is it actually the single most reliable, fundamental, and universal connection point we have, not just with the physical world around us, but also with one another?
Something for you to chew on the next time you decide whether to grab that raincoat or skip the afternoon bike ride. We hope you gained some specific insights into your own relationship with the seasons and the forecast.
We'll see you next time.